Welcome back to Go With Us, and this is everything you really need to know this week in Pokemon Go, running from the 10th of August all the way until the 17th. Let's get straight into the calendar, guys, and before we move on to anything this week, remember that this is going to be the last day on Monday for the Summer Marathon event. This event is bringing about the shiny debut of Snom, but that's only going to be available in 5km eggs, and that's not going to be very easy to hatch. Please remember the Go Pass as well. If you're just progressing through the free Go Pass, you are going to get more encounters with event-themed Pokemon like Fire and Ice Pokemon. You're going to get more Stardust, XP, Rare Candy, and Ultra Balls. If you did purchase the Deluxe for a total cost of $5, you're going to get more encounters with event-themed Pokemon. You're going to get incenses, silver pineapple berries, rare XL candies, as well as Candy XL. When it comes to the milestone bonuses, it's at tier 2 though, where things get very interesting. It is going to be half egg hatch distance, but if you did purchase the Deluxe, it's going to be quarter egg hatch distance. We now know the full list of wild encounters. It is going to be Vulpix, Alolan Vulpix, Growlithe, Swinub, Snorunt, Litwick, Cubchoo, and Litleo. And because as of the release of this video, there's 2 days left of this event, which means there's going to be shiny boosts for Slugma and Vanillite. And on Monday, there's going to be shiny boosts for Ponyta and Snover. The 5km egg pool will be Sneasel, Darumaka, Galarian Darumaka, Larvesta, Sizzlipede, and of course that shiny debut of Snom. And when it comes to field research, we do know some of the tasks. Explore 2 kilometers for either an encounter with Ponyta, Slugma, Snover, or Vanillite. Spend 10 Pokestops or gyms for Ponyta, Slugma, Snover, or Vanillite. Please remember that those Pokemon can be shiny boosted on their specific days as well. And the last one, which is a little bit unnecessary in my opinion, you can spin a Pokestop that you haven't spun before for a rare candy. That's, yeah, a little bit meh. But the one thing you cannot forget to do though is to get your encounter with the Visor Pikachu. Guys, this Marathon Pikachu requires you to walk 42 kilometers before this event ends, and it is going to expire at 8 p.m. Remember to walk your 42 Ks. If you were playing Hatch Day, you might have had a good way to chip away at this already and get that encounter. And I thought this Pokemon would be shiny locked this time around. It is not. By the looks of things, it looks like the shiny is available. Like we said, that Summer Marathon is ending on this Monday. Please take advantage while you can. Let's cast our eyes back to our calendar again, and what we have to touch on here, of course, every Monday morning at 9 a.m. you will be able to get your Adventure Sync rewards. If you did walk 42 kilometers to get Advisor Pikachu, you would have most likely walked over 50 kilometers. If you did, you would have got access to a 5km Adventure Sync egg as well as a 10km Adventure Sync egg. They both hatch different types of Pokemon. In the 5k Adventure Sync egg, you can see Budew, Chingling, Sableye, Tyrogue, and Happiny. In the 10k Adventure Sync egg, you can see Dredagon, Toxel, Bagon, Drampaw, and Gibble. Of course, the big hits there are probably Gibble for the Mega Garchomp, or even Drampaw for the Mega Drampaw coming to the game at some point. But as time goes on, there's probably going to be better opportunities to get the hundos of these Pokemon specifically. Let's get back to our calendar again. There's another very important thing going down on Monday, which is going to be the Max Monday featuring Dynamax Beldum. Of course, there's a specific hour from 6 to 7 where they're going to be spawning a lot more frequently, but they will be very common throughout the day. I need to clarify something. The rare XL candy that you would get from Max Mondays is live. Some people saying they're not seeing it on their encounter screens. Guys, that XL candy bonus is definitely live. Once you complete the raid, look very carefully and just wait a second. Sometimes there's a glitch in the system where the rare XL candy doesn't show. This is definitely live, so there's a huge incentive to still play these Mondays. But on this specific Monday, Dynamax Beldum going into DMAX Metagross is an absolute must-have. This is one of the best budget max attackers in the game, but how do I determine that for you? The best place to look is to have a look at its base stats. Metagross is a dual Psychic and Steel type Pokemon. It has a max CP at level 50 of 4286, which is incredibly strong, an attack value of 257, which already off the bat we're in a really strong place here, a defense of 228, which is well above average, and an HP stat of about 190, which is about average. Remember guys, outside of max battles, Metagross is still going to serve you incredibly well. The fact that the base floor from these max battles are still 10-10-10, you have a great opportunity to get a hundo. If you did, or if you got a 98, you could use this as a raid attacking Pokemon as well. It is still currently with Meteor Mash, which will require an Elite Charge TM. It's going to be the 8th best Steel type attacker in the game. The Shadow is ranked even better, and of course the Mega Metagross is even better as a Steel type attacker as well as a Psychic type attacker. Undoubtedly, the Mega is going to be the best to use here, but you could still use a Dynamax Pokemon as a Mega Pokemon as well. It gives you so much utility. But what makes Metagross specifically a really good max attacker is that we need to have a look at its resistances and its weaknesses first, and then there's something else. Guys, it is weak to 4 different things: Dark, Fire, Ghost, and Ground. But look at these resistances. It resists 10 types, and it double resists Psychic and Poison. Why this is so brilliant is that look at how it pairs beautifully with something like its fast move. Remember, on D-max Pokemon, it's the fast move that counts when it does damage in the max phase. With Gmax Pokemon, its Gmax move is already set to that Pokemon, so the fast move doesn't matter. But in this case it does, because this is D-max metagross we're talking about. It actually gets access to 4 different fast moves, which are all 4 different types, which is making this again great utility. It gets Fury Cutter, Shadow Claw, which does require an elite fast TM, Zen Headbutt, and Bullet Punch. But the 2 I want you to focus on is definitely Fury Cutter as well as Shadow Claw. The reason why these moves are so good is that they are half a second fast moves. As a tanking Pokemon, the best thing you want is a half a second fast move on your tank, because it's only that half a second fast move specifically that's going to be charging that Dynamax meter a lot quicker in order for you to get to the D-max phase to then switch into your attacker. Generally, D-max Metagross is going to be used as a tank. It is definitely one of the best tanks in the game, but with Pokemon like both Crown Forms and Zacian and Zamazenta, even something like D-max Registeel, these are better tanks to use now, but as a budget option, this is a fantastic option, probably still the best. D-max Metagross just reminded me to tell you that you have not subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Anyway, moving on. If we have a look at our research breakthrough box for the rest of the month, remember guys that once you complete your 7th day stamp, you will then get an encounter with a reward Pokemon and some premium items. Those Pokemon will be Dragonite. The Hundo CPs are going to be 1625. Axew's there at 586 CP. We can see Honedge with a 595 for the Hundo CP. Jangmo-O is in there at 415. Indeedee male and Indeedee female are in there at 1027 and 1047. And we also have Cloth in there. That is the only one that cannot be shiny. And that Hundo is going to be 1030 CP. Screenshot these now if you want to remember it. If we glance at that calendar again, remember guys, Tuesdays have a strong focus on Showcase Tuesdays. You need to be entering showcases on Tuesdays because you can enter up to 5 different Pokemon in different categories, which gives you an incredible opportunity to get some premium items, because we do have some big events coming up like the Mega Finale, for example, and some others potentially. But you can also chip away at that Showcase medal, which requires you to win 100 showcases. If you do this, you will then get an encounter with a reward Pokemon, which is actually going to be the PhD Pikachu, one of the rarest Pikachus in the game. There is another thing going down on Tuesday, which is going to be the new Choose Your Path timed research, which is going to be running from the 11th to the 17th, and the title here states Venom Vines. This is probably going to bring about some poison Pokemon, more specifically something like Tangela. Just so every trainer is aware, most of us will get 3 options to pick: Explore, Catch, or Battle. There are some occasions though where trainers might get 6 different options to pick. Again, just pick one which is going to best suit your gameplay, especially for that week. Once you complete this timed research tasks, you're going to get Great Balls and Ultra Balls, but you're also going to get encounters with Venom and Vines Pokemon, again, most likely Tangela. Now is the time to have a look at our raid bosses happening this week. Remember guys that the raid bosses rotate out on every Tuesday, and it looks like new ones come in at 6 AM every Wednesday morning. But up until Tuesday, which is only about 2 or 3 days from when this video drops, you're going to have pretty much only a couple chances left to raid that Lake Trio. They're going to be leaving raids on Tuesday the 4th. Remember, they are all Psychic type Pokemon. Mesprit is spawning in Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India. Uxie will be spawning in the Asia Pacific regions, and Azelf will be spawning in the Americas and Greenland. They are not meta relevant at all, but their shinies are incredible. You're going to have to remote raid these if you want to fill them for your Pokédex. But then replacing the Lake Trio on the 12th, which is going to be the very next day on Wednesday at 6 AM, is going to be Groudon, the legendary Pokemon from the Hoenn region. Remember, Groudon in its base form, if you like, is still a ground type Pokemon, but when it takes on its primal form, it actually takes on a ground as well as a fire type. Groudon on its own though is still incredibly strong. These raids are not going to have a chance to have its speciality move, which is going to be Precipice Blades. You will have to use an elite charge TM on this Pokemon to get that move. It is very important though for Groudon to have that move. Groudon on its own with Precipice Blades is still the 9th best ground type attacker in the game, in the top 10. The Shadow form I believe is breaking into the top 3 or 4, and of course if you didn't know, Primal Groudon with Precipice Blades is undoubtedly, it's not just the best ground type attacker in the game, it's one of the best Pokemon in the game undoubtedly. The reason why is, have a look at this Pokemon's TDO. It can hit tremendously hard, but it's so bulky, just like it is for Primal Kyogre as well. They can stay on the battlefield for a long time and still do a lot of damage while also boosting other Pokemon's damage on the battlefield. Primal Groudon, especially at version level 3 or Mega level 3, however you want to say it, is going to be boosting candy for grass, ground, as well as fire type Pokemon as well. This is an outstanding opportunity to get yourself a hundo. That shiny rate will be 1 in 20 as well. If you guys want to know the 100% IVs for Groudon, it's going to be 2, 3, 5, 1 and non-weather boosted weather. But the weather boosted 100% IV is going to be 2, 9, 3, 9 CP, and that's going to be in sunny weather because of its ground typing only when you encounter it. If we just blow through its moves very quickly, its fast moves are going to be Dragon Tail and Mud Shot, and its charge attacks are going to be Fire Blast, Fire Punch, which will require an Elite Charge TM. That's a really good move for the Go Battle League. We have Solar Beam in there, Precipice Blades, Elite Charge TM, which we've just discussed, as well as Earthquake. Even Groudon in the Master League right now is still a boss Pokemon, definitely breaking into the top 40. This Pokemon really has good utility across the board, and again, its primal form it's just a boss. Back to the calendar again, what mega raids are going down this week? Well guys, we only have a couple of days left before Wednesday to raid Mega Blaziken. This again is one of the best megas in the game. Let's run through these stats very quickly. It is a fire and fighting type Pokemon when it takes on its Mega Evolution. At level 50, its max CP is 4704. Its attack value is sitting at 329, which is still incredibly good. A defense, which is a little bit glassy at 168, but a pretty average stamina sitting at 190. Its fast attacks are going to be Counter, Ember, and Fire Spin. Its charge attacks will be Focus Blast, Aura Sphere, Overheat, Blast Burn, which will require an Elite Charge TM, Blaze Kick, Brave Bird, as well as Stone Edge. But knowing these stats, knowing these moves, what does it really do to Mega Blaziken? Well guys, one of the best megas in the game. In the fire type category with Blast Burn, it is currently the 3rd best fire type attacker in the game, and as a fighting type, it's also the 3rd best in the game right now. Definitely a mega you want to be getting Mega Energy for to get it to Mega Level 3 and eventually Super Mega Level whenever it does come out, so you can get Candy and XL Candy for the fire and fighting type. But it's also just a tremendously good budget attacker. You need to be getting yourself a good Mega Blaziken. But then on Wednesday, taking its place at 6 a.m, we are going to see the return of another boss mega, which is going to be Mega Garchomp. Mega Garchomp is a dual dragon and ground type Pokemon. It has a max CP of 6132, which is power, an attack value of 339, a defense of 222, and a stamina of 239. All of these stats are insanely good. It is weak to 3 different things. It is weak to Dragon and Fairy, but it is double weak to Ice because of that ground and dragon typing. It does resist 4 different types, but it seems like it triple resists Electric because again, Electric is weak to Dragon as well as ground. Its fast attacks are going to be Dragon Tail and Mud Shot, pretty good moves there too, and its charge attacks are going to be Outrage, Incredible, Breaking Swipe, really good charging attack, Twister, Fire Blast, Sand Tomb, Earthquake, but it definitely needs the move Earth Power. This will require an Elite Charge TM, but let me just tell you, Earth Power on this Pokemon is making a massive difference. To be honest, the only Pokemon really beating it out in terms of raw power is that Primal Groudon, what we've just discussed. As a ground type attacker, it's currently the 2nd best in the game, and as a dragon type attacker, it is breaking into the top 4 in the 4th spot. This is a great Pokemon to get to Mega Level 3 and eventually Super Mega Level as well, because the candy gains for dragon type specifically are very valuable. Dragon type Pokemon don't spawn very often in the wild, and whenever they do, we want to be able to take advantage of those candy gains while having a Mega Level 3 dragon type in the background. This is your opportunity to do that. When discussing raids, we cannot leave out our 5-star Shadow raid boss for the month, which is going to be Shadow Giratina in its altered form. If we have a look at Giratina's base stats, it has a max CP of 3820, a pretty lackluster attack stat of 187, but its defense and HP make up for it with 225 and 284 on both those stats. Definitely more of a defensive Pokemon, but remember, as a Shadow Pokemon get 20% increase on their attack, but the trade-off is that their defense decreases by 20%, but this might be perfect in Giratina's case, not so much as a raid attacker, but more specifically in PvP, but we're going to get to that now. Its fast attacks are going to be Dragon Breath and Shadow Claw. Its charge attacks are going to be Dragon Claw, Shadow Force, which will require an Elite Charge TM. As you can see, the star is there, Shadow Sneak, Frustration, because it is going to be a Shadow Pokemon. You would then have to wait for the next Team Rocket Takeover event, use a Charge TM to remove Frustration, and then you can put whatever move you desire on this Pokemon. So what does all this mean for Shadow Giratina in its altered form? Well guys, as a Ghost type attacker, it is still the 15th best Ghost type attacker in the game, which I think is pretty impressive considering how lackluster that attack stat is. In the Great League, it shines pretty well, breaking into the top 150, but it's actually in the Ultra League it shines best, breaking into the top 50, sitting around the 40th spot right now. Shadow Giratina has always been a really good Ultra League Pokemon, and in the Master League as well, if you really wanted to run it there, and if you maybe got 100 of those Pokemon and you wanted to level 50 it, it's going to have some spice in that league for you as well. If we look back to the calendar again, bar Shadow Giratina, because it's going to be here for the whole month, those raid Pokemon will be coming in on Wednesday. But one thing you need to take note of on Wednesday as well is going to be the raid hour from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. that is going to be featuring GROUDON. We've already told you how good it is, especially with Precipice Blades. It's a good opportunity to go after that shiny as well, which to be honest is one of the best legendary shiny Pokemon there is. But the other thing you need to be playing this hour for is just like it is for Max Monday. You're going to get a guaranteed rare XL candy for every single in-person raid you complete in that hour specifically. Huge incentive to play, guys. If you played Max Monday and Raid Hour Wednesday every single week, by now, to be honest, you would have a lot of rare XL candies. Make sure you don't miss that. Great opportunity for the hundo again for GROUDON. That's Wednesday done. Let's move on to Thursday. Remember, guys, that for the remainder of the season, and it may not come back next season, you need to be focusing on GBL Thursdays. The reason why is that you can complete up to 10 sets per day, which is 50 battles, but at 4 times Stardust rewards. So huge potential at Stardust gains. But the other thing that's on offer, especially as you rank up the tiers, is that you will get reward Pokemon. Again, I've said it in previous weeks, there's a lot of people getting legendary Pokemon as a reward off this free track. Another huge reason and incentive why you want to be playing GBL Thursdays. The other important thing you need to take note of on Thursday is going to be the Spotlight Hour from 6 to 7 p.m. local time, which is going to be featuring Wurmple, the bug-type Pokemon originally coming from the Hoenn region. The interesting thing about this hour is that the bonus connected to it is going to be 2 times evolution XP. If you guys weren't aware, Wurmple is part of the famous 6 Pokemon that only require 12 candies to evolve. Some of those Pokemon are going to be Caterpie, Wurmple, Weedle, Pidove, Pidgey, and Wishmer. There's a couple of ways you could play this hour. You could really go after that shiny Wurmple if you didn't have it. Wurmple going into Dust Talks or into Beautifly, they don't really have any meta relevance either. So there is one way you could take advantage of this and play it. You could potentially play half an hour of this event and grab as many Wurmples as you possibly can, have a Mega Level 3 Bug-type Pokemon in the background to really get you as many candies as possible, and then for the second half an hour, you could pop a Lucky Egg and fly through as many evolutions as you possibly can. You could probably get about 70 done, and to be honest, that's easily 300,000 to 400,000 XP that you could do if you really push through it. Maybe you have a lot of these Pokemon already in your bag, like Pidove and Pidgeys from previous Spotlight Hours, that you could potentially spend this whole hour evolving. I've done this myself many times over, and I've received over 700,000 XP sometimes doing this. A great opportunity to take advantage of XP gains or get that shiny. Back to the calendar again, we arrive on Friday, which is going to be the 14th, and the main thing I want you guys to focus on Friday is going to be Friendship Friday's trade bonuses. I say it every week. I don't care if you're tired hearing it. The power of it is very underrated. Guys, on this day, you're going to get up to 2 guaranteed XL candies per trade. Trades are going to cost 20% less Stardust. You can make 3 special trades on this day, but what really brings it home is that all of these trades, and you can do 100 of them, are all going to have an increased chance to go lucky. When a Pokemon goes lucky, it has a 1 in 64 chance of now being a hundo. If that Pokemon was a legendary Pokemon that's shiny with a background, your odds, if it does go lucky, drastically increase to get that shundo with the background. I said this in last week's episode. Every single special trade I did last Friday, every single one of them went lucky. No hundos for me, but on another day, it could have looked very different. Trade your Pokemon. The XL candy per trade as well is incredibly good. And don't forget about your August Go Pass. Even outside of Fridays, you're going to get 1 guaranteed candy as well as XL candy every single time you trade a Pokemon as well because of that Go Pass. Remember to trade your Pokemon between best friends as well, because the base floor is going to be 555. Let's just say you traded 100 Torchics because you didn't have that hundo. You're now going to get another 100 encounters at a base floor of 555 to potentially get your hundo. The odds eventually will stack in your favor. Back to the calendar again, not much going on Saturday the 15th. That Venom Vines research will be carrying us through until Monday, but remember on Sunday, don't forget about Nickit Community Day. This was voted in between 4 different Pokemon a couple of months ago, and Nickit was the clear winner. Remember that your shiny odds are going to be 1 in 25 for every single Nickit encounter, including those coming from field research or special research. That 100% IV, if you guys want to know, is going to be 306 CP. The other thing you need to note is that up until 9 p.m. that night, if you evolve Nickit into Thievul using 50 candies, you will then get the new legacy move on this Pokemon, which is going to be Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to make a big difference on this Pokemon, and I'm going to explain more of that a little bit later, but guys, let's have a look at the bonuses very quickly. There's going to be increased spawns of Nickit everywhere during the 3-hour time frame. It's going to be 3 times catch Stardust for everything that you catch. 3-hour incenses, 1-hour lures. Remember that is a lure module bonus up until 9 p.m. that night. If you couldn't play Calm Day, maybe you had work or a family function going on, if you pop a lure up until 9 p.m. that night, Nickit will still be drawn to that lure with a 1 in 25 shiny rate, so it's a good time to catch up. It's going to be 2 times catch candy, 2 times chance to receive XL candy. Remember, you can get photobombed 5 times from Nickit on this day, and all those Nickit encounters will come with that 1 in 25 shiny rate as well, but you can also chip away at that cameraman medal. Nickit spawning in the wild also has a small chance to have its own community day special background, but there are guaranteed ways to receive the special background and field research. There's only 2 tasks, but the other way to do it is to purchase the community day ticket. What I've already done for everyone is broken this video down and it's gone live on Friday. You guys are really loving this video, but it details everything you would really need to remember in a day like this, because to be honest, it's looking pretty underrated, and I think this Pokemon, especially with Icy Wind, Thievul is definitely going to have something to say with that moveset. If you guys want to check that out, please check it out above me right now. That is Thievul Community Day. And also I want you to check out, because we're just at the end of that summer marathon event. If you didn't catch that video, please check it here. But ultimately, if you want to upgrade your account in August, you guys are loving this video right here, the absolute most. Trust me, all of these videos are going to help you on your Pokemon Go journey. We're the go-to guys. Love you. Go with us. Please hit that like and subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. But of course, that hype button too. Let's get this video to as many trainers as possible so we can really help the community, because that is honestly our goal here. Love you. Catch you in the next one, baby. Shh.